afternoon. It's Monday, September 26th. I'm Laura Cornfield, and this is IBA News, broadcasting from Jerusalem. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is at this hour on his way back to Israel after wrapping up his six-day visit to New York. Prior to his departure, Netanyahu met with both U.S. presidential candidates in Manhattan. Hours before boarding the plane, Netanyahu met with Hillary Clinton at the city's W Hotel. In their meeting, which lasted just over an hour, the former Secretary of State stressed her opposition to any attempt by outside parties, including the UN Security Council, to impose a solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. According to a statement released by her campaign, Clinton reaffirmed her commitment to a two-state solution negotiated directly by both sides. She added that a strong and secure Israel is vital to the United States and reiterated her unwavering commitment to the U.S.-Israel relationship. Clinton stressed her support for the new military aid package reached earlier this month, as well as her commitment to countering efforts to boycott Israel. For his part, the Prime Minister thanked Clinton for her friendship and support. The Prime Minister's office issued an identical statement to that given after his earlier meeting with Trump, saying Netanyahu laid out Israel's positions on Mideast security issues, as well as efforts to achieve peace and stability in the region. The meeting with Clinton was requested by Netanyahu, who, after receiving an invitation to meet with the Republican campaign, said he would only do so if he met with both candidates in order to create a balance and avoid giving an impression of interference in the U.S. elections. Meanwhile, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump told Prime Minister Netanyahu that, if elected, he would recognize Jerusalem as Israel's undivided capital. During their own private meeting held at Trump's office in Manhattan, the two reportedly discussed a wide variety of issues. Trump's office released a statement saying the Republican nominee pledged his support for the Jewish state. The statement read, Mr. Trump urged that under his administration there will be extraordinary strategic, technological, military, and intelligence cooperation between the two countries. Mr. Trump recognized Israel as a vital partner of the United States in the global war against radical Islamic terrorism. The statement went on to read that Mr. Trump and the Prime Minister also discussed at length Israel's successful experience with a security fence that helped secure its borders. The two convened for over an hour and 20 minutes. Also present at the closed-door meeting were envoy to the U.S. Ron Dermer and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, an Orthodox Jew who serves as his advisor on Israel-related issues. Staying with the U.S. presidential candidates, and tension is rising as they both prepare to face off against each other in the first of three televised debates. Final preparations are well underway at the Hofstra University in Long Island, which will later tonight turn into the most crucial political battleground in this presidential election. This will be the first time that the two political rivals will be on the same stage at the same time. It is expected that over 90 million Americans will tune in, making it the most-watched political debate in U.S. history, providing American voters with an unscripted opportunity to see how their would-be presidents might handle the intense stress of the Oval Office. The presidential debate begins at 4 a.m. Israel time and will last 90 minutes. Joining us now in the studio is Professor Shmuel Sandler, an expert on political science and U.S.-Israel relations from the Bar-Ilan University's Begin Sadat Center. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor.
Thank you.
First of all, Professor Sandler, on a general note, what sort of impact can such a debate have on the American vote?
Well, this time it can have a big impact. I think that both sides, the public is waiting to see Hillary if she's healthy and to see if Mr. Trump is modified, as he promised to be, as he has shown in the last few appearances. So it's going to be an important debate in determining the results. Also, we must remember that in the past there were debates that we call them game changers, or debates that changed and it had a big impact on the results.
So these debates really can influence the American voter. Isn't it a bit late for people to be making up their mind, or is this one that happens?
No, we know that 20% still did not make up their mind. And also, even those who made up their minds, if somebody makes a mistake, like let's say Mr. Ford did in '76 when he claimed that Poland was not under under Soviet influence, this can make a difference.
Why was it so important for both candidates to meet with Netanyahu before the debate. Do you think there is a connection, or just because he happened to be in New York?
Well, definitely the interest came from Mr. Trump, because he has what to gain. He's still waiting for some support, especially financial support. And also it gives him an image of an international leader. So the initiative probably came from Mr. Trump, who had to gain a lot. However, once he asked for, Mr. Netanyahu conditioned it also on a positive answer from Hillary Clinton.
It's said that usually candidates come out weaker in terms of popularity in these televised debates. Who, in your opinion, risks losing the most in this case?
Well, Hillary has to be in good health. That's definitely. She can't cough or do any other mistake. Usually the underdog wins, and although there is now a tie, almost a tie, I think that Mr. Trump can win more out of this debate. He can show his toughness and so on. However, if she's smart, and if he falls into a trap that on details where he can make a big mistake, that can also work against him.
Certainly, Trump's experience as a reality star will play to his advantage, although maybe not necessarily, because Clinton is perceived as more of a politician.
Right, and that's why she has to pull it towards details, where she is stronger. She served as Mr. Clinton's wife. She was in the White House. She is a senator. She was a foreign minister, Secretary of State. So she knows the details much more than him. And if she succeeds to bring him into details and where he is going to make a mistake, she can win. He will probably try to pull her towards being she's soft, she is not credible. And everybody will try to pull to his own field where he is stronger and where the other one is weaker.
Professor Sandler, it was announced that Trump originally planned to see Jennifer Flowers, who had an affair with Clinton's husband, Bill, before the presidential win, in the front row in order to throw her off or to sort of intimidate Hillary. It was later retracted. Is this playing fair, or is the debates turning into some sort of circus in general?
A war is a war. This is psychological. This is psychological warfare. He tried to unbalance her. And I think she's a tough lady. I don't think such things can influence her. I mean, she knows with whom she is married, and she knows his history. I don't think this would shake her, but it just shows how much psychology is important in these debates.
What's in it for us? Why are so many, including hundreds of thousands of Israelis, expected to tune in tonight at 4 in the morning?
Well, first of all, America is important to us. Israelis in general are like confrontations, to see such confrontations. I mean, there's a big American community in Israel, and that's why we might see some big audiences even from here. But I presume there's going to be all over the world. There are going to be millions of people watching the debate from all over.
Professor Shmuel Sandler from the Begin Sadat Center at Bar-Ilan University, thanks so much for being our guest.
Thank you. Thank you.
Staying in the United States, where California Governor Jerry Brown signed a new anti-BDS bill that prevents companies that boycott or discriminate against any sovereign country, including Israel, from doing business with the state. Brown signed the measure into law this past weekend after it was previously approved by the state Senate and the state Assembly. According to the Jewish Journal, the measure applies to all foreign countries, but Israel was the only country mentioned specifically by name. Back here at home, now to the corruption affairs surrounding senior officials in the Israel Beitenu party. Former Minister Stas Misezhnikov and former Deputy Minister Faina Kirshenbaum will be indicted on charges of corruption. The decision to prosecute them was announced today by Attorney General Avichai Mendelblit and State Attorney Shai Nitzan. They will be summoned for a hearing, after which they will be formally charged. The two face severe charges of bribery, fraud and breach of trust, money laundering, and tax evasion. Misezhnikov, a former tourism minister, will also be charged with possession and use of a dangerous substance, as well as with interfering with judicial process. 16 other suspects also face prosecution. The state prosecutor's office said the case is considered one of the country's largest corruption scandals in terms of widespread activity and the number of suspects involved. In other news, a radical Islamic preacher who called for the collective slaughter of Jews has been given jail time for incitement. The Jerusalem Magistrates Court sentenced Sheikh Omar Abu Sarah to 8 months in prison for racism and incitement to violence during one of his Friday sermons at the Al-Aqsa Mosque. In an inflammatory video, which was subsequently uploaded to YouTube last November, the 51-year-old Islamic preacher described Jews as the most evil creatures on earth, calling them pigs and monkeys, and urged worshippers to commit acts of violence against them. Shortly after the hate speech was posted online and was viewed by tens of thousands, then Temple Mount activist and now Likud MK Yehuda Glick submitted a formal complaint with police. The complaint was lodged 3 weeks after Glick was released from hospital after he nearly died in an assassination attempt, which he blamed on deeply rooted incitement. Moving to Syria, where the Assad regime and Russian planes continued to pound the besieged city of Aleppo in what the United Nations called the most intense bombing in years of warfare there. Hundreds of airstrikes have pummeled the city since the Syrian government, backed by Russia, announced the renewed comprehensive offensive last week, following the collapse of a short-lived ceasefire. Residents of rebel-held eastern Aleppo said the ferocious bombardment has leveled complete neighborhoods and has so far killed over 150 civilians, including dozens of children. Trapped civilians have made desperate pleas for help, as the deteriorating situation and security conditions have also left 2 million people without access to safe drinking water. The renewed attacks, which include barrel bombs, come as the UN Security Council held an emergency meeting Sunday where diplomats exchanged fiery words.
What Russia is sponsoring and doing is not counterterrorism, it is barbarism. Russia and Assad have reportedly launched more than 150 airstrikes over the last 72 hours, killing at least 139 people and injuring hundreds more, laying waste to what is left of an iconic Middle Eastern city. These are people who have suffered horribly in the 5.5 years of war, yet they call the attacks from the air unprecedented in quantity and quality. Instead of pursuing peace, Russia and Assad make war. Instead of helping get life-saving aid to civilians, Russia and Assad are bombing the humanitarian convoys, hospitals, and first responders who are trying desperately to keep people alive.
I'm still convinced that we can turn the course of events. We have proven this more than once before.
The Knesset's Science and Technology Committee visited a hothouse in Mishor Adumim this week to get a first-hand look at how this Israeli initiative offers greater food security for the developing world. The hothouse, which spreads out on the 4-dunam roof of an industrial zone building, is able to yield 50 times more than on farmland. Using hydroponics and robotics, the organic hothouse is a model for urban hothouses designed to be copied on rooftops across the country, which will provide fresh vegetables to city dwellers. The technology is also being marketed abroad as an innovative method to solve world hunger.
We are here in a place that have come with this innovation of very interesting agricultural technology that, as I said before, might give a part at least of the solution. And I think that we should look at things to their matter and look at the technology and the solution that can be given without any regard to politics or to any dispute, because this is a global challenge.
In a complex engineering feat, a huge 10-meter-high Roman-era column from an ancient temple was reassembled into the library of the Upper Galilee College in Tel Chai. IBA's Ari O'Sullivan has that story.
For some 2,000 years, this Roman-era column has laid in pieces not far from here, but now it's standing proud over 3 stories high. In a sophisticated engineering feat, the pieces were brought to Tel Chai Upper Galilee College and with the aid of modern cranes lifted through an opening in the library roof. It contains 14 pieces of solid stone and weighs in at 20 tons, topped by a beautifully carved capital. The column originates from Omrit on the slopes of the Golan Heights, just 5 kilometers away. It was once part of a majestic temple built by King Herod for pagans on their way to the Banyas. Each piece was modified to link it into the other so it doesn't topple, and it required cutting through the bureaucratic red tape to remove it from the excavation site. The site was exposed after a brush fire 20 years ago, and excavations revealed 3 temples, one built on top of the other. It was destroyed by an earthquake in the 4th century, and amazingly all the pieces of the temple are still there. This is the first attempt to reassemble it. Who knows, perhaps one day they will put all the pieces back together again, but this time on site. Ari O'Sullivan for IBA News.
Moving from the north to the south, where a new artificial lake has been dedicated in the Negev desert town of Dimona. For the past 3 years, this 40-dunum pond has been under construction and was finally opened this week. It comes with a price tag of 32 million shekels and is immediately turned into a main attraction in the town, drawing people and birds alike. This could be due to the over 5,000 fish that have been stocked into the pond. Soon there will be paddle boats, and the shore is slated to be lined with cafes and pubs, making it a hot tourist spot for anyone traveling south. And congratulations are in order for Israeli runner Elina Dolinin, who put in an impressive performance Sunday at the International Berlin Marathon. In her first competitive marathon ever, Dolinin clocked a stunning time of 2 hours, 35 minutes, and 59 seconds, setting a new all-time record for an Israeli woman. She came in 7th place overall, beating Nili Abramsky's 12-year-old national record by 37 seconds. Originally from Russia, the 38-year-old mother of 3 from Hod HaSharon began her career as a middle-distance runner at an early age. She immigrated to Israel in 1999, but took a 2-decade break from the sport before making her comeback nearly 2 years ago. In local money matters, shares were down in the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange while the shekel was mixed in foreign currency trading. Here are the numbers. And turning to the forecast, no change in temperatures over the next several days. Here are the highs and lows for the next 24 hours at home and abroad. And that's all for this newscast. Please join us again tomorrow, same time, same channel, when Elon Aslan Levy will be back at this desk. I'm Laura Cornfield, wishing you a good evening and shalom from Jerusalem.